Here's your wrestling news for September 5th, 2021. And your headlines for today include what happened after Smackdown went off the air. Vince McMahon controlled WWE Smackdown while not being present at the venue. WWE slashes Backstage production crew. WWE superstars forced to eat arena food after company cuts catering. The Undertaker set for WWE return on Smackdown. This could be the last time. Edge on his MSG match against Seth Rollins. Steve the Brawler Lawler passes away at 56 years old. Cesaro suffered cervical strain in Seth Rollins' attack on WWE SmackDown. CM Punk says WWE played games during recent talks. CM Punk's first AEW action figure confirmed. WWE on-air personality leaves the company, and more. We are starting off today with Becky Lynch, who has avoided facing Bianca Belair since beating her at SummerSlam for the SmackDown Women's Championship. We know the pair will finally collide at Extreme Rules, but fans at last Friday's SmackDown got a special preview after the show. In a 6-woman dark tag team match, Belair teamed with Shotzi and Tegan Nox to face the Man and WWE Women's Tag Team Champions Natalya and Tamina. It was Belair who got the win for her team, building momentum ahead of her match with Lynch on September 26th. In pre-show dark matches, Keith Lee defeated Austin Theory, while Xia Li faced Aaliyah ahead of their rumored main roster call-ups. Lynch and Belair will meet on next week's Super Smackdown, as they'll sign the contract to make their title match official, and fans can expect fists to fly on next week's Stacked Smackdown. This week's show saw a Universal title match, another appearance by the Man, as well as the teased returns of both the Demon and Brock Lesnar, but not everyone made it to the show in Jacksonville. Ringside News reports that Vince McMahon wasn't at this past Friday's SmackDown, but was said to be on the phone all day long and in complete control of the production. It's rare for the chairman to miss a main roster taping, and no explanation has been given as to why he wasn't backstage. This week's show saw a lot of build to next week's SmackDown, which will air from WWE's old stomping ground, Madison Square Garden, and we doubt the chairman will want to miss returning to the world's most famous arena. For the past year, WWE has been cutting talent and people backstage, all to slash their budget, and now even more cuts have been made from the company's bottom line. These latest cuts have devastated the company's backstage camera crew, as Ringside News reports that there's just one crew left that'll oversee all backstage recording. This is a far cry from the previous setup, where multiple crews allowed for many things to be filmed at once, and one member of creative called the cut short-sighted, adding that it'll just put more pressure on the writers and backstage crew. Now, all footage recorded backstage will be shot with one team, which means it'll take a lot longer to record multiple backstage segments, as Nick Khan believes having multiple crews isn't worth the cost. Earlier this year, WWE consolidated multiple departments in WWE into one new WWE Media division, which is run by Kevin Dunn, and now that division has been streamlined even further with just one crew to film backstage. It's not just backstage workers in the US who are out of a job, as earlier this week, WWE disbanded their Japanese division, with over 100 people let go from the company. This decision was made due to what's being described as management problems, partly because of complications over the past year, and now WWE's control over the Asian nation is even weaker than first reported. In an update from Tokyo Sports, it's reported that there will be no more tours in Japan from now on, after their tour, which was meant to happen this past July, was scrapped. The report adds that some employees will still be able to work, but in much lesser roles, including running the WWE Japan social network profiles and in news distribution. WWE has had a strong relationship with Japan in the past, hosting the 2015 Beast in the East special in Tokyo, but the Japanese audience will have to make do without any live events for the considerable future. WWE's aim to cut costs have seen hundreds of people let go over the past year, and even the superstars left in the company are feeling the effects. That's according to Ringside News, who report that WWE have now cut their catering crew, and unsurprisingly, the superstars and staff haven't taken this well. One source called the decision a budget cut that no one can believe, and added that the array of food that talent can now access is terrible. That's because it's now up to the arenas to provide food, meaning these world-class athletes are now having to rely on pizzas, nachos, and incredibly overpriced hot dogs to keep fed during shows. This latest cut means WWE has parted ways with their longtime partner Diga Catering, but one source backstage has said that new catering is coming in November, but it'll be cheaper. Jerry Lawler once claimed that WWE spent £20,000 a show on catering, and that's a cost Nick Khan clearly didn't want to keep paying, even if it means the superstars go hungry. Last November, The Undertaker had his final farewell at Survivor Series 30 years after his incredible debut at the same event in 1990. The seven-time WWE World Champion hasn't appeared for the company since, but that could all change during next week's Smackdown. According to a report by Planet of Wrestling, the Dead Man will be appearing during the Smackdown that'll air from Madison Square Garden, but it's not known if he'll be physically present in the famous arena or part of a recorded segment. Though WWE has been struggling to get the ratings up over the past few weeks, it's unlikely that they've coaxed the Phenom into an in-ring return, especially after his career ended perfectly with the WrestleMania 36 Boneyard match victory over AJ Styles. Next week's SmackDown will also see the return of Brock Lesnar, as well as a SummerSlam rematch between Seth Rollins and Edge. And now fans can tune in to see The Undertaker on this stacked episode of SmackDown on Fox. Edge vs. Rollins 2 is a huge match to happen on SmackDown, and the Rated R superstar realizes that this could be his final appearance in MSG. On Twitter, Edge said how there was a time he thought he'd never wrestle in the Garden again, adding that this could be his last chance, and encouraged his fans to blow the roof off the arena in New York City. Next week will mark Edge's 29th match inside the Garden, with his most notable bout being his WWE title retention against Rey Mysterio at the 2008 Royal Rumble, and the Hall of Famer is looking to make history one last time in the Garden. We've got some sad news to report now, as Steve the Brawler Lawler has died aged 56 after a lengthy battle with pneumonia. A competitor of every major Georgia promotion in the late 80s, the Brawler competed until 2013, and we'd like to send our condolences to his family at this sad time. Back to SmackDown, and this week Seth Rollins delivered a post-match beatdown to Cesaro, which only stopped when Edge made the save, but the damage has been done, according to the Swiss Cyborg. During Talking Smack, it was noted Cesaro suffered a cervical strain, and although this is a storyline injury, we'll have to see just how long they use it to keep Cesaro out of action, and what he'll do when he eventually returns to the ring. Over to AEW, and tonight, CM Punk will make his long-awaited return to in-ring competition when he faces Darby Allin. 7.5 years after his WWE 2014 walkout, many fans thought for years that Punk was done with wrestling, and perhaps would have been had AEW not come along. Punk is arguably the company's biggest ever signing, but speaking to ESPN this week, the best in the world revealed why he didn't re-sign with WWE in 2020 when an offer was made to him. He said, "I remember one of the first things I ever said to them was, above all, don't play games. And they played games. Some things never change. When you enter a conversation with people you have a past with and you know who they are, how seriously can you take it?" Punk didn't specify what kind of games WWE played with him last December, but it was enough to keep him from returning to the company on a permanent basis. WWE's loss is AEW's gain, as Punk has helped bring older fans back to wrestling with his debut for the company, and WWE could have avoided that had they not played games last year. Now ahead of All Out, AEW hosted a fan fest yesterday, which included some exciting news about their upcoming line of AEW action figures. During the event, Series 4 of their Unmatched series of figures was confirmed, and it was announced that CM Punk will be part of that line. No mock-up design is available at this time, but we do know that Unmatched Series 4 will also include Cody Rhodes, Jade Cargill, Hangman Adam Page, MJF, and Chris Jericho, who will be in his Lionheart gear. It wasn't mentioned if there will be any chase variants of these figures, but that's something Jazzwares often does with AEW's line of figures. It was also confirmed that Brody Lee will be getting a figure, and fans will have to be quick, as these figures aren't expected to last long in shops. And we're ending with The Bump, which has proven to be one of WWE's most popular internet shows, but the show will have to go on without Evan T. Mack. PW Insider has confirmed that Mack has parted ways with WWE after removing all references to the company on social media. Signs of his departure were visible last week, as he wasn't on The Bump, and now he won't be on any more episodes at all. We'll have to see what he does next, as Mack likely made a lot of fans during his time on The Bump, and he'll probably remain a huge wrestling fan even after parting ways with Vince McMahon. Well guys, that's our news for today. Please share your comments below. Also hit the like button, subscribe to our channel, and hit the bell icon to receive all notifications. And as always, thanks for watching.